Welcome back to Listen, Learn, Champion. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so excited.
I'm Natasha.
And I'm Madison.
And we're going along with our love season.
If you can't tell,
we're like embracing this pain.
in the season of love.
I love it. I'm living for it. So last week we gave some like hints that we would be talking about dating and being engaged and really what it's like. And I think we both like agreed that we just want to kind of talk about us so you can like get a personal relationship with us and it's not just two girls on your screen.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? Well, we're doing it anyway. So do you want to start?
You start.
Okay, well,
Okay.
ask away.
Tell me how you met your fiance
Well,
and, and anything else since they don't know him.
Yeah.
I do. And I'm lucky to know him, but
yeah, what a guy he is.
start with how you met and then end with just like a brief proposal story.
Oh, okay. I love it.
Okay.
So we matched on Hinge. Yeah, it was on a dating app, you guys. And we matched twice.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we matched and then we decided to go on a coffee date. This was also the week that I don't know if it was the same week. It had to have been. My grandmother passed away. So my mom went to North Carolina to deal with all of that. And I stayed and dealt with the house. And my grandfather was moving in with us. So I was moving in to another room. And so I was doing all of that by myself while there was also 2 hurricanes coming. Yeah, it was a lot by myself. And so I canceled our coffee date and we didn't talk. So I had his like phone number and stuff. And so I deleted Hinge off of my phone. So I did delete my profile. I deleted it and I just was like, I'm just going to focus on me right now and all the things. I re-downloaded Hinge and we matched again.
Third time's the charm.
No, second.
This was the second time.
Yeah, this was the second time. And he messaged me and goes, I think you have my phone number. And I was so embarrassed because I was like, oh, he knows that like I have his phone number. We planned a whole date. Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, he still remembers that. Right.
Yeah.
So we were texting and it was the week of Thanksgiving that we went out and we live in St. Augustine. So they do Nights of Lights. And so he lived in Jacksonville. He had just kind of moved here. And so I like showed him like my favorite spots in St. Augustine. He loves Christmas. So we went and looked at all the lights. And I remember, I know, so cute. So if you've never been to St. Augustine, there's so much food. Anyways, so there's this one place on George Street that serves seafood and we both really like seafood. And it's right next to this place called Colonial Live Oak Music Park where they play music on the weekends and all of the good jazz. So mind you, it's a Wednesday. It had just finished raining. I think it was raining that day because the seats were wet. So the picnic tables were kind of damp and we sat outside and they were playing the basketball game. And I was telling him how I love going to this place because I love live music. And we talked about travel for, I want to say almost an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. So my fiance and his brother, so Will, my fiance's name is Will. So it was Will, his brother, and I think it was a friend. I don't want to say backpacked across the United States, but they kind of did. They literally took a truck and a trailer, not even like a nice trailer, just like a trailer you put like a
store stuff in.
Yeah. And they slept in it.
Oh.
Like someone had to stay awake to make sure the heat was still on. Like, yeah. I mean, it probably smelled like 3 guys. I mean, makes me want to vomit. But they went to I'm going to say this wrong. I think they went to New Mexico. It was like that whole trail of stuff. Death Valley, all the things.
Super cool.
And he showed me all these pictures, and it was just so beautiful. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. And I was like, I have like a whole list of places I want to travel on my phone. I think it's like, gosh, there's probably 100 places on there.
Yeah.
And he has the same thing. So we're talking about like our top places and where we want to go and why we want to go there and all these things. And I haven't been able to talk about like my love for travel in a really long time. And so to be with someone where we're just talking about all the places we dream of going, and it was just so cool. And then we started talking about how much we love the ocean, and he's like, yeah, I'm a scuba diver. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I haven't scuba dived in years, but I got my license when I was very young, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love scuba diving. Like I haven't gone in years. Like I have to get a new license, but we should go, all this stuff. Like, I mean, it was just so cool. Then we went to another place, and then we started talking about how much we both love to read books and how we both love music and we love movies, and we're just sharing like our favorite books and our favorite movies and our favorite music. And there was never like a moment of silence. Like we were just constantly talking, and it was so nice. Will and I joke about this now, but our first date, we were so nervous because we're the same height.
Oh,
and so I was like, okay, let me wear my flattest shoes, because on his profile, he said he was 5'7", and I'm like 5'7.5". Like I can push like being taller. So I was freaking out. Like I was like, I do not want to be looking down on him. And so then he told me that he tried on every single pair of shoes to find shoes
oh my god,
that he felt tallest in. And so we joke about it now, but we are the same height, so it's fine. But so yeah, then he went home for Thanksgiving, and you know, my communication on my part sucked. I was not a good communicator. I had a lot of walls up. I was very nervous. I felt like he could potentially be the one, and I just didn't know honestly how I felt about that. Like I was really scared, because I was like, I wasn't really like I want to be in a relationship and be married, but this was all very new for me. And then on New Year's Day, he asked me to be his girlfriend.
Aww.
Yeah. And then that same day, we planned a trip to go to Yosemite together. So we weren't even really like dating that long, and we were like, we're going to Yosemite together in April, and his dad went with us, and we had a blast. We had so much fun. And then we got engaged August 5th. He actually planned a whole like boat thing, and then the weather was really bad, so the guy canceled it. And we went to this beach all the time in Jacksonville called Hannah Park, and he would surf there. We would go there all the time. We would take my dog. And so it's like a wooden walkway, and his mom, dad, sister, and my mom was there. And he made some lame excuse and was like, well, let's go show your mom like where Hannah Park is, because she's never been. And my mom just got him a pass to Hannah Park for his birthday. So that was his excuse. Yeah. Perfect timing. And so that was his excuse. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And okay, like if y'all have never met him, but he never walks with his hands in his pockets. And we're walking to the beach, and he has his hands in his pockets. And I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, he looks ridiculous right now. But there was no box in his pocket. So I was like, there's no way he's doing it. And then all of a sudden I turned around and he did it. And he forgot what he was going to say.
That's okay, because Rob remembered what he was going to say, and both of us have no idea.
Yeah. And I mean, I totally like, all I kept saying was shut up, shut up, shut up. Because I like genuinely, like, I knew it was coming because his parents made a trip there. And so I was like, if he doesn't ask this weekend, then I have no idea when he's going to ask.
Yeah.
Because I knew he wanted his parents there. So yeah.
Sweet. And now you're getting married.
Now we're getting married this year.
So excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I'm so
Such
pumped.
a sweet story.
Yeah.
So when did you guys know that marriage was something that you wanted to pursue?
So his story is different than mine.
These are.
So he knew the first day.
Really?
Yeah. He called his mom after our first date and said he was going to marry me.
I love that.
I did not do the same thing. I think it was so the amazing thing about my fiance is he really made me find my love of scuba diving again and my love for travel and adventure. And I'd lost that part of me for a long time. And when I found that part of me again, it made me realize that I didn't want to be an anesthesiologist assistant anymore. Because when we first started dating, I was like, hey, I might move. So are you okay doing long distance? Because I don't know what school I'm going to get into. And so when I decided I no longer wanted to do that and I wanted to be an accountant, navigating that and having to go back to school and him being absolutely so patient with me and just, I remember I broke down crying because my mom and I weren't seeing eye to eye and he was just there for me. At every single step of the way. I remember just feeling like my mom was going to be disappointed in me for wanting to do something different and all these things. It was a gradual thing. It gradually happened. Like I was like, wow, like he's so patient. He's so kind. He planned my dream date and didn't even know it was my dream date. Like, it was just the intentionality that he had in pursuing me. So I've always wanted a picnic on the beach with a fire and watching our favorite movie, eating sushi. And he did exactly that.
Wow.
And I didn't even know. And he got me flowers.
Wow.
He got me my favorite flower.
Extra points.
Yeah.
What's your favorite flower?
I really like lilies and hydrangeas. He got me lilies.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And then so it was just like little things like that. Like he didn't even know that was my dream date because we never talked about it. He downloaded my favorite movie that he remembered from our first date.
What's your favorite movie? Me
Before You.
Okay.
Cry Me a River.
I like the details, guys. I don't know about you, but yeah, I love the details.
That movie is like top tier. If you need a good cry, that's the movie. And it was just so good. I brought my dog and it was just so nice. Side note, Jacksonville does allow you to have a fire on the beach. So we weren't doing anything illegal. So it was really nice. And then it was, like I said, it was just gradual, like little things here and there. I remember I mentioned, hey, I think we should read this book to see like how to communicate better and how, like, if we know we're ready to be married or even if we should be married. And he bought it the next day. Like he didn't even like question it. Like he was like, yeah, let's do it.
Wow.
Like I was just like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, okay. Like I've always like dated the wrong guys, like that were never Christians because I thought I could fix them. And so being with someone that was so actively pursuing their relationship with the Lord and was like, yeah, let's do this. Like, yeah, I want to do it. It was definitely out of his comfort zone, but he was so eager to do it that I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like we were just so comfortable in like exploring those things of like how we can get deeper. And we were always having really hard conversations. Yeah. So it was a gradual thing.
Yeah.
But it was pretty soon. It was like probably a month in. I was like, okay, I want to marry him.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Most people think, we got engaged 8 months after dating.
Right.
So it was pretty fast. Most people probably think we're crazy, but when you know. Yeah, but the intentionality behind it, we had so many people pouring into us. We sought out our pastor and his wife to be kind of our mentors, and they poured over us. We had dinner with them every Monday night, and we were having intentional conversations. Hours. We probably wouldn't leave their house sometimes till 9:30, 10 o'clock. It was, sometimes we would leave crying. My feelings were hurt. His feelings were hurt. It was very intentional.
Yeah.
And so I think, because all that happened, I was like, you know what? We're ready. Even though we're young, we're ready. And we even went to our pastor, Trevor, and I said, listen, if you don't think we're ready, I need you to tell us. If you think we're too young, it's too soon. If we haven't done the right things, tell us. And he goes, no. He's like, when I was your age and I got married, I was doing all the wrong things. You're doing all the right things.
Yeah.
He was like, things that I wouldn't even think of doing, you guys are doing.
Right.
And so if you're like me, where you just know, make sure you're doing it right. You're having people pour into you, giving you spiritual guidance, kind of that generational love. Like there's older people pouring into you and not just people your age, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What does it mean to you when you hear people talking about dating well? How did you date well?
I think that goes along with what I just said.
I agree.
We read a book. We were constantly looking up questions on the internet of like deep intellectual, intimate questions. Like we were always just Googling stuff. We went to church together. We at the time did not pray together during that season. But he did pray for me. I prayed for him. We do now pray together. But I think in the beginning, we kind of just did more of that separately. It was a lot of, what did you learn from this that you don't want to do in this relationship? We talked about every single thing. We talked about his past relationships, my past relationships. We were very honest, because he had a serious girlfriend before me in college, and they broke up because he wanted to move and she didn't want to leave like that city. So it was kind of like a mutual thing, because he always saw himself leaving North Carolina because that's where he's from. And so, but we just laid it all out on the table. We were very honest. Then we talked about what we saw for a marriage. So like what he grew up with versus what I grew up with. So being super, super intentional. I think how do I word this without like, I don't want to like say anything wrong. When I was single, I was constantly listening to podcasts and YouTube videos on how to ask the right questions. So I had a lot of questions to bring, and he loved it. So then he started looking up questions. So, just being very transparent with, if you are dating to marry and you're maybe doing it fast, like make sure you know what you're asking and getting yourself into. Yeah. Because
last question for a little bit. What does it mean to you for a husband to lead you and your future family?
Yeah. So that's something we're still talking about. Yeah. It's still something we are talking about, because I think our expectation now will probably change versus when we have kids. Absolutely. If that makes sense. And we'll get into that in another episode. But I think as of right now, just in the stage of life we're in, I'm in school and he's working full time. And so we're finding a balance of how can we serve each other, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so, because we serve each other differently, and we have good days and bad days on different days. And so navigating that.
You're human.
And then what was the question again?
What does it mean to you for a husband to lead you and your future family?
So for him too, it's like, I have to give him the space to let him lead me, because I'm a very independent person. I am like the master of being independent. So allowing him to lead has been very important for me, in like giving him the space to lead me. Yeah. I think for a long time, I still struggle with this. I'm not perfect, but I struggle to let him lead me because I'm afraid that it's not the way I want. But I have a friend who has told me, at the end of the day, your husband's job is to make the decision that's best for your family, not for you or for him, but for your family. And so I am still learning to give him the space to lead me. But he'll call me out on it. Yeah. Like he'll just be like, babe, you're not really letting me lead. Like, let me do that. So really for me, it's just letting him have that space and that masculine energy to do that, because I feel like I've been so independent for so long that I have like a masculine energy, if that makes sense.
You're the planner. You like to, I'm the same way. I like to have my hands on everything. I really,
so I have to kind of be more feminine and let him do it, and kind of be like, okay, babe, like I'm just here for the ride. Like,
it's so hard.
It is hard.
Loose of the rein.
Yeah. So, but he makes it so safe and easy that I just have to lean on it. Yeah. So, and then, you know, he encourages me for this podcast and just all of that. Like, he listens. I won't let him listen when I'm next to him because I can't listen to myself, but he does listen.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Okay, your turn. Hotspot.
Okay.
The light's on you.
What's first? How we met?
Yeah. So you touched on it a little bit.
In the last episode.
Yeah.
So when we started dating, that wasn't the first time we met. We dated in middle school, actually, for a little bit.
I feel like we need to put a picture.
Okay, I'll send one and we'll figure it out.
So cute.
So he left me, went to high school, left me in the dust. We both dated. Just kidding.
No, wait. So did you guys ever have like the same circle of friends? Because we live in a small town, y'all.
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a small circle.
Did you do the same high school?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So he did go to yours. We went to different high schools.
Yeah, we went to different high schools. No, Rob and I went to the same middle and high school.
Okay.
But yeah, we both were in different relationships throughout. Would run in circles. But I never thought.
Listen, in our town, you know about everybody and you know everybody's business, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after we had broken up, I mean, I didn't ever think that we'd get back together. I just thought, okay, that was a middle school thing.
Yeah.
Over and done. We both were in different relationships. Moving on, like, I just never thought of him really as, like, he was someone I dated in middle school. You know, it wasn't, I didn't ever think of anything else.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 2020, my friends and I were going down to South Florida for spring break from Athens, Georgia. And right in the middle of it is when we learned that we were going to have a shutdown and that we would not be going back to school. So I went home.
Yeah.
And didn't go back until I was moving everything out to come back for summer.
Yeah.
So over this time, I was at home doing all my classes online. I was sitting outside doing my history homework, and Rob's best friend, TJ, cleaned our pool for years and years and years. I have never seen him at our house. I've never seen him clean our pool. So I'm sitting outside doing my history lesson like a good student, and TJ comes walking in. It's like, hey, how have you been? Blah, blah, blah. And we just start talking because I only knew who he was through Rob back in middle school.
Oh.
And we didn't go to the same high schools, anything like that.
Did TJ go to St. Augustine?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I knew TJ more than I knew Rob.
Yeah.
I knew
they've been best friends since they were 8 or 9, something like that. And TJ says, do you ever talk to Robert anymore? And I said,
oh, he was hyping his friend up.
Yeah. And TJ was dating one of my really, really good friends at the time too. She had been a mentor in my life.
We need some double dates.
Yeah. She had been a great mentor in my life, still is. And is just a great picture of a Christian woman, adore her through and through. And, so I knew he was dating my friend. He said, do you ever talk to Rob anymore? And I said, no, why would I talk to Rob anymore? No. And, he said, well, he's actually moving in with me today. I said, what?
What are the chances?
So he says, you should come over and, get dinner with us, and I'll have my girlfriend come over and we'll hang out. I said, okay, we'll see. So then that night, Rob.
Talk about a wingman.
I guess so. Thanks, TJ. All creds to you. And it's his birthday. Anyway, so, I end up going over and hanging out. I haven't seen Robin forever. I'm trying on a billion different outfits because I'm thinking, you know what? He broke up with me when I was in middle school. I need to just go over. Now he wants to hang out with me because I'm thinking, oh gosh, what is TJ reporting back to him? Yeah. All of these things. And then Rob asked me to come hang out. So I said, okay, I'll come over.
Wait, Rob texted you?
Yeah. He might have Snapchatted me. I don't know.
Oh, he was like making sure you were actually coming.
Yeah. So then I start to hear from Rob. I didn't reach out to him, but I guess TJ went back, told him he saw me.
Oh, he was definitely wingmaning for him.
So Rob reaches out, asks me to come hang out. I pull up at their house. He comes outside in these ugly, there are these slip-on shoes from Amazon that look like fish, like big mouth bass shoes. I still won't let him live this down. To this day.
My gosh.
It was the ugliest thing.
Post on YouTube
but
right
it's
now.
Just him. He's the goofiest, sweetest.
Listen, Will wants lobster slippers.
Yeah.
And I'm not buying them for him.
No. I don't even know where these shoes are, and I'm glad we don't know. But they literally look like fish on his feet. I was like, what do you have on? Good to see you. Anyway, So I haven't seen him or talked to him since.
This is so good.
It's been 4 or 5 years since I've even talked to him, but it's been like 8 since I've even had a full conversation with him.
Oh my gosh.
So
8 years?
Since middle school, and I'm
fair.
Going into junior year of college. So like at least 6, 7, whatever.
Yeah, fair.
And I'll get to the point. So we end up hanging out. They live right by a bridge. When we were walking, he wouldn't let me walk on the side of the road where the cars were. And I'm like, I learned chivalry this years, and he was just
a gentleman.
I would ask him a question about him and he would redirect it back to me. And
I love that.
It was very intentional. And I said, oh my gosh, I didn't know what I was getting into coming to hang out with you. So then we have a few more dates. It was a lot of group date because we were all friends. So it was really nice. But I had already done a long distance relationship and I didn't think I wanted to get back into one. And I didn't know if he was ready for that either. Not me. So I was very transparent.
So COVID was like, gosh, it happened like January, February.
This was
okay. So spring break was like March. So it had to have been February.
This was April.
Okay. So maybe we did come back in April. Cause I'm trying to think about when I came back.
I came back in March and then we started kind of hanging out in April.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then
we went back to school.
I went back that August.
Okay. I'm just making sure I remember.
Or end of July. Yeah.
COVID feels like it was 3 years long.
It was a time warp.
But it was really like 2 months. Anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. So surprise, surprise, we ended up dating. So we started dating in June, a few months later.
So did you guys talk about your expectations for long distance?
Yeah. And I had told him I've done it. So he had already started his career here. So he wasn't mobile. He wasn't leaving. And I had to go back to school to finish, obviously. And I wanted to.
Coke for that.
And so I had told him, listen, I've done long distance. It is no joke. It is tough. It tests you.
Yeah.
I'm not completely sure I want to do it again. And he said, okay, well, we'll talk about it. We'll see how it goes. And I said, I'm just not sure what this is going to, how this is going to end, if we're going to continue to date.
So did you so you started dating in June.
Mm-hmm.
And so were you like, okay, us going back to school, we're going to talk on the phone at least once a week or check in every day? Like, was there expectations? Yeah. Does that make sense?
I really wanted to FaceTime every night.
Every day.
Every night. Because communication is so big to me.
Yeah. Okay. I love that she's like, communication is so big for me. And she's the hardest person to get a hold of.
I know.
I love you.
It is. But that's only gotten worse these days, just as more has gotten.
She is a business owner, y'all.
But at least then, if we weren't seeing each other all the time, I wanted to be able to end my night talking.
So you weren't able to FaceTime every night?
No, not time.
So was that like you were super busy, he was super busy, or both?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So it was just trying to learn and navigate.
Yeah. So did that cause arguments?
We had a few friction points, but now looking in hindsight, so we lived like almost 8 hours away from each other, and we did long distance for 2 years. So we've been together a little over 3.5 years now. Yeah. 4 in this coming June. So we just learned that it's actually, for us, even though it was tough, we learned trust. We learned communication skills. We learned time management and how to value. I mean, we were able to miss each other. And it allowed me to still have my college experience and be present in the moment with all of my friends that I knew. Like as soon as post-grad came, that we would all split up across different states. Yeah. I had the sweetest friends. There were like 16 of us that were all from different places and we're all spread out now. Love you guys if you're listening. But we just knew that time together was so precious, and he was already pursuing his career. So it ended up being the biggest blessing that I didn't have to try to continue to be pulled in so many different ways, that I could be present in the moment that I was in and he could be present in his, and we could still love each other and communicate and know that we weren't going anywhere. We still trusted each other. And that eventually we'd be back together. We weren't sure when. And I kind of touched on this in the previous episode, is one thing that I loved so much about him is he never held me back from things that I wanted to do. He was always my biggest cheerleader, is continuously my biggest cheerleader. I thought I wanted to go to New York post-grad. I was a fashion major in college, and I always thought I wanted to go to New York and live out my dream up there. Quickly decided, and the Lord, closed some doors for me to lead me back to Florida. But he was my biggest encourager. He said, it might mean a few more years of long distance, but I don't want you to ever look back on this and either resent me for keeping you from going. Yeah. He said, selfishly, I want you back here, but I know that you have this dream in your heart that you need to accomplish. So he said, do whatever you need to do. I'll be here. Yeah. So that was huge for me. And then same with him. I mean, he has really, really long, demanding work hours. He said, is this something that you're willing to sign up for? Is this something that, as a partner and potential spouse one day, are you going to be okay if I leave before the sun is up and get home after the sun goes down? Are you okay with, the issues in communication sometimes, and I might not be able to be there for everything? And I said, I can. So there were a lot of factors that helped strengthen us. Of course, we had friction points. Of course, we had fights about things. But
I swear, when you are in a relationship and they're the one, you fight about the dumbest stuff.
Well, yeah. And you pick a fight just to pick a fight. Yeah. I mean, that's really what it is now. Yeah. And not saying you should do that. Yeah, don't do that. But we seriously are so incredibly healthy. Yeah. And as his relationship with the Lord has continued to grow, it's something that we are doing together. Yeah. Do you want to touch on that? Yeah. So briefly, when we first started dating, that was something that concerned me. And I did have a conversation with him about, is I didn't know where we both, I didn't know how similar we were in our walks with God, if that makes sense. If we were on the same page. And I told him this, not to put any pressure on you, not to, make you think something's wrong or anything like that. But if you're serious about our relationship, this is a factor that I take very seriously and that needs to be the center of our relationship. So if you're ready for that, then I'm ready for this.
So what did he say? When you had that?
He was completely honest and said, I have never had someone to show me exactly what it means to walk the life that you live currently. Yeah. And he said, but all I know is that something is drawing me closer to you and that I want to be around you more than anything in this world. And if you're the one that can show me at least how to get started with that, I'm not putting all of that pressure on you. And that was a big thing between us.
Yeah. Yeah. Take note of that.
Yeah. You just can't, take note of that. I couldn't be his discipler. Yes. I could be his encourager. Yeah. I could be his accountability partner, but never pointing a finger, because everyone's journey is a little bit different. Yeah. And he was able to find that on his own, and was baptized, and we started doing our devotionals and everything together. And it has just set us up for the just sweetest season of life that we're in now.
Can I brag on Rob for a second?
Of course.
Am I allowed? Okay. So Rob worked with our pastor for a period of time, and he's talked about how that was really big for his relationship with the Lord. And you've talked about it. Yeah. And it just shows that people are put in your life, whether it's for a relationship or a friendship, that leads you to other people that will strengthen your relationship with the Lord. So even though Rob, who is amazing, probably had all the attributes, obviously, because you wouldn't have been with him if he didn't show attributes of being Christ-like.
That's the biggest heart.
Yeah. And so you knew the potential. And so him meeting you led him to our pastor, who then challenged him in his walk with God. Yeah. And
they took to each other almost immediately, which was really sweet.
And Will and Trevor are the same way. They took to each other immediately. So it's just really cool that, we're friends, and then our fiancés are friends, and then they're friends with our pastor. It's just crazy. Yeah. But anyways, back to what I was saying, is that sometimes one person leads to another person that's going to make the biggest impact.
Absolutely.
And I think that was really important that you guys had that honest conversation of hey, I can't be your disciple, but I can encourage you and help you. If you have questions, I can point you to the Bible. And ultimately you pointed him to somebody else, without you even knowing it. Yeah. So there's potential everywhere.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
And I saw the potential there. That's why I felt comfortable pursuing the relationship. obviously nothing's ever for certain.
Yeah.
But I could see his desire and that childlike wonder and awe of
Did that ever bring like challenges for you guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have that like coach mentality too, where I couldn't be there. And that was the hardest thing is I was trying to be a coach from so far away.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you're speaking life on deaf ears, like we've talked about before.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things I was trying to do to help were actually harming the situation.
Yeah.
And I might have been pushing a little bit too hard, and he had to say, listen, this isn't working. Can we try something else? So then I had to check myself. I'm like, what do you mean it's not working? I'm doing all of this and blah, 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 blah.
You're doing what I know.
Yeah. And so it all worked out. We knew probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago that I always knew I wanted to marry him.
You knew right away?
No.
Okay. Did he know right away?
I don't know.
You should
have to ask him.
I was going to say text him, but he probably won't answer in time.
He knew from what he's told me. He said that I just remember at the beginning of our relationship, he said, I didn't understand why you wanted to be with me. And I went into it thinking, wow.
He said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
okay.
I went into it thinking, well, he broke up with me once before, you know, like it was so many years ago.
Yeah.
But he just said, I have just like watched from a distance and like have seen everything that you've been working on and doing. And seriously, from that first date that we reconnected, and I just saw how much growth and development he had over the years. It was like we both had met completely different people, like reconnecting. So we don't really base anything off of previous.
Yeah. Middle school was so long ago. You're kids.
We're still kids, but it's
real. Sometimes I think about it, I'm like, oh gosh.
I know. But there came a time that Robert he made me so confident. He truly loves me from the inside out. He makes me feel beautiful. He encourages me. He takes initiative. He doesn't put up with my crap.
Yeah. Listen, when you find the one, like it makes you tear up because I feel like I don't want to say we take advantage of, but you kind of forget all the things they do for you.
Yeah.
Until you start talking about it out loud and like, I'm tearing up for you. You're tearing up for me. I'm like, you just know.
Yeah.
You know,
they are really amazing.
Yeah. And then
he proposed this past August.
We got proposed how many weeks apart?
Like maybe
was it a month?
Almost a month, a little less than a month.
Yeah.
You were the beginning of August and I was the end.
Yeah. And I knew. Oh,
and I knew about
the hardest freaking thing. Remember, we would sit here and we would talk about your trip to Hawaii, and then you were saying, "Well, my mom wants me to get my nails done. That's like a month away," and I'm like, don't say anything.
I know Natasha picked my engagement nails.
I did. I will never unlive that.
Yeah, she did.
But anyways, it's so fun.
Yeah,
it is so fun. My next question for you is, we talked about when you knew he was the one. Oh, when you hear people talking about dating well, what does that mean to you? And how did you date well? Like, how did you and Rob date well?
So our relationship looked a little bit different because we did long distance for so long. And I think compromise was huge in our relationship and recognizing that we had different needs and wants.
Yeah.
And something that I couldn't necessarily fathom is I love to talk. I'm the chatterbox and he's the listener. Surprise.
It balances well.
It does. Yeah. It really does. But we got to a point where I was wanting to call all the time because I missed him so much.
Yeah.
And at one point he said, I think I need a little space. I'm like, we're already 8 hours away. How much space do you need? But I had to realize, okay,
that is
you're still not getting sick. Cause I took that as I'm being too much. I'm far away and he's still like sick of me or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was no.
Yeah.
We still need to have our separation to live our lives, you know? So that was a huge compromise and we've compromised with each other. Yeah. So I think dating well for us, was understanding the differences in expectations and finding a common ground.
Yeah.
It might not be compromising all the way for one and all the way for the other.
Yeah.
But just compromising in little areas to get to common ground.
Yeah. When you're with your one, you want to talk to them all the time because they're like your best friend.
Yeah.
You want to do everything with them, but you also have to remember that, you know, you are your own person. You have to,
oh yeah,
you know, give yourself some space.
I get an A on a test, I want to call him. I stub my toe, I want to call him because I'm crying. I ate really good green beans, I want to tell him where I got them from. Like, I don't know. I'm literally like Donkey from Shrek, and I'm aware. But, you know.
What does it mean to you for a husband to lead you and your future family?
Very similar. I won't reiterate everything that you said, but we're really on the same page when it comes to that. And this is something that when Rob and I weren't necessarily equally yoked in our relationship at the moment, I'm confident to say that we are now.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I was trying to explain to him that I need you to get to the point that you can lead our family well and you can lead me well. You know, I can't always be the one. That's what your relationship is for, is to have the other person to lift you up when you're falling. And if you're the one that's constantly doing the uplifting, who's there to catch you, you know? So once we got to that point, it
does say in the Bible that your husband should lead your family.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
And I feel like we're at that point now, and I do like to be in control. I do like to plan everything. I do like to make decisions, even though I'm not the best at it. And so I slowly, in this year of preparation, because we're not getting married until next April, so we have a year and a half, to really work on each other individually and what it looks like for him to step into that leadership role of the family.
And I mentioned how, you know, leading your family now when you are newlyweds versus leading your family when you have children are two different things. And we will talk about that in another episode because we got some things. I guess we talked about what it looks like to date in college. Is there anything else? What else should we touch on? This has been a long episode.
Yeah, it has. All right. But you've gotten to know us.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can learn. We have two very different paths. Mine is a little bit more extended, and you guys kind of knew right away how we met, how we reconnected. I think just having an open mind is so big, and really focusing on, if you take anything from this, every relationship and every single person is different, and whatever plan someone tells you to follow might not be what's best for you. When I started telling friends we were going to have a 1.5 year long engagement, everyone's like, why so long? I'm like, because we both want to enjoy this season together. And you know, we have a lot of things going on. We just want to take our time. Others might have a 1 month engagement. Like, there's no one size fits all plan. No. It's whatever works for you.
And planning a wedding, especially since COVID, venues are very booked up. You can't just call and be like, hey, I want to get married in April. They're probably full.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything has been pushed back. So kudos to you.
And kudos to you.
So listen, if you are wanting to be a wife, if you're wanting to be engaged, your season will come. I promise.
And if you're in it, we feel ya. And we're both
enjoy it.
Wedding planning. Seriously, enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get stressed. It's so easy to get overwhelmed, but just try to find the joy in everything, because ultimately this is the season of life that ends with you marrying the person who you love and who the Lord has brought to you. So when everything's going a little bit crazy, just remember what the season is for and where it's going to end, and find joy in that. Yeah.
We're so glad you guys got to know us more on a deeper level with our relationships and how it formed.
Yeah. How it started,
whatever. Yeah. Next week, we're talking about marriage. Now, we're obviously not married, so we don't have much insight. So we have a special guest.
We do.
We're not going to tell you who. You're going to have to wait. But
she is married.
So excited. She's married, and she's our favorite human being
ever.
So you'll have to tune in next week for that one. But I hope you're enjoying this love season as much as we are. Bye.
Bye, guys.